There you go.
All right. So the retail price is $750. Wholesale cost of address is $322, $23. Cost of dress to them.
Do we want to go through the questions first, or
Yeah, we can.
and then try to? I just want to try to frame it for meaningful discussion, or like before we break down the costs, like try to figure out what we're supposed to. Like create a timeline of the actions undertaken by Rent the Runway's co-founders. Do you agree with the decision to pursue each action? What actions were important in validating the business model hypothesis and refining the concept? Can you suggest different actions that the co-founders should have taken?
So this is like like we're looking back, right?
Yeah, like those questions are.
Okay, let me pull those questions up too.
So you have the question here, John. It's not that page. Hold on a second.
So, what the heck?
What?
Have someone offer the opening prayer for your discussion. No.
I can do it.
No, it was a joke. We're not doing that. So what grade would you have given the founders of Rent the Runway for the work? So what question were you reading, Bruce?
I was reading on lesson number 2, prep assignment, Rent the Runway.
Okay, well, this is like for the Google Hangout, talk about these things. So if you look at the Rent the Runway instructions, it says for Google Hangout, spend an hour discussing the things below.
Okay.
We're going to talk about a little bit of one thing is you talk about what did the founders stumble.
Yeah.
And we can start talking there a little bit about that. What did they stumble over?
Yeah. So something I noticed that their struggles is just initially like getting their foot in the market, because they kind of try different routes. They try to like group with people, and their partnerships like would never go through.
What I have problem with it was the designers. They didn't know how to approach the designers to actually sign contract, because they like we don't need you guys.
No, definitely, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was the biggest hurdle they needed to overcome, because they needed the dresses and stuff like that to come to that point.
Yeah, well, it's probably like their lack of experience with, because I mean, as it mentioned, or like I mentioned in the beginning of the thing, like that neither of them had any like background.
Yeah, they didn't have any background in the fashion industry at all.
Yeah.
But then they learned from it and said, okay, we need to approach this in a different way from what we have done before. We're going to listen and learn from the designers, and that way we're going to approach it in different way.
Yeah. So we talked about kind of how they did it differently, and some of those actions that they did. So it talks about like the business model is the next question. What were you guys' thoughts on the model?
What does it say? It says.
So question.
I guess vote individually. What grade would you give the founders of Rent the Runway for their work in starting RTR?
Oh, I just skipped that, but they did okay. And then
What would you give them?
a 2. I'm just joking. I think it's a terrible business model. Like Patrick and I were talking about the other day when we met, their idea is just kind of stupid. So I think finding a market, I think their selection of a market was kind of a poor choice. It was more something that they had a hobby in rather than something that they could easily make money on.
Why do you think it's stupid?
Well, it's like at the time, like who's going to rent clothes and return them? I just think it's a bad model, and you're not going to make a ton of money doing it.
But didn't they say in here that like they had like 150,000 customers or something in the first 2 months?
No, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I was surprised about, but
they signed up 150 people, 150,000 people within 2 months. You're correct about that. So
yeah,
it went pretty quick. What they did, they went to they did some good research on how to find their clientele, because first they could, they could go towards old people with money, right? But they decided to go with the younger people, and that's what they found out from going to the Harvard and doing the study with the young people. How did they feel like when they were putting on the clothes? And this was money or the clothes that they could not afford, right? So they could only rent it for a day. So, and that study went very well. And that's from that on, they said, okay, this is what we need to do.
yeah. So, I mean, they had like a clear plan, and I guess you're right. I mean, they're not like a terrible company. I just think they just have a huge amount. What was it? $15 million in investments, or what do you call it? Capital. And now they're asking for more capital if they're going to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were thinking that their capital was going to hold on to end of December, or was it 2010 sometime? And then they needed more money. First off, because the investor was pushing towards a faster. He wanted to see more results. And with that, they needed more investment money to fill the holes where they were lacking, like inventory and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, because it was like saying in there too, like they expected it to like kind of just go on an even kill, but then like I don't know, the demand was way stronger than they anticipated, and they didn't have the systems ready and stuff for that.
Yeah. I take a business class before, and back in Sweden many years ago, and what I learned from that is they have this kind of word called growing ache. If you're growing too fast,
Oh yeah,
you are putting on too much cost and stuff like that, and that can actually hurt you more than helping you if you're going too fast, because you have so much cost before you start making the money, and that is not good either. You have to be careful of growing too fast.
Yeah, I think, well, because like part of I think what this discussion too is like they're wanting to like add more features, they're wanting to add more things, you know. But it's like it's just interesting that they're trying to do all that before they build like stable infrastructure for what they've already created. Because they're not even like they're like looking to just ramp everything up, but like everything's still kind of fragile. It's like.
yeah.
But they were mentioning that we need to look into there are four points in the business model that they are pointing out in this. And I kind of looked at in the business models, and what you're looking at is who is your target, which we talked about, the younger people. Then what customer challenges do you get into, and how do you solve them? What value do you deliver? And how do you keep your customers?
Yeah, because
Excuse me?
oh, yeah, because I was just saying like the key elements. Like I know CVP, like customer value proposition, is GTM.
Yes.
Is GTM the go-to-market strategy?
Yeah.
And then Tom and CFF, I'm not sure of. Time of manufacturing cost for something. Oh, total. Oh no, it's not total addressable market. Total something market maybe. No, TAM is total addressable market.
I mean, the question said what was raising when I raised to me is that, okay, so how do they handle, fashion design changes pretty quickly. How do they address that? You need to buy inventory, fall, spring, summer. I mean, you have to follow the fashion pretty good. And then also, how do they get rid of their inventory of if fashion dies?
That is very true.
Well,
So-
if they break even, it doesn't really matter
With break even, no.
because if you look at it like so on the Excel, like if they can rent it out 4 times, it doesn't really matter if the fashion goes out because after the 4th time they've made money and then they've done their goal. So say they rent it out 5 times. Well, on that 5th time they make $60.
Yeah.
Does it?
Either they toss it or they keep it and they keep using it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess if they're like super, like, does it have that? Let's see. Do they have information on that? Like, as far as like how many times on average people rent it? Was that the thing that you were building, or?
Yeah, so that's what I did with the Excel document. I just kind of finished it up. So the profit margin is $59 per dress, and the break-even point is 3.8 times. So if they rent it
On average, because obviously they all have different numbers.
Yeah, no. This is talking about like the rental price of a dress that costs $750
Okay.
retail.
Yeah.
So they're getting it for $323. Well, they're getting it for $226, and then they rent it out for $90 with a variable cost of $31. That's probably shipping.
And what explains the reason why they get it at $226 when wholesale is $323?
I have no idea because that's what it says in the textbook. I mean, that's what it says in the document.
Okay, that's interesting.
So yeah, there's no. So if you look at model exhibit 4, it just says cost of dress to RTI is $226. So whether that's like a contract that's giving them lower than wholesale price or what, but I guess that's what it is. So I was like, no revenues per rental includes charges of insurance and shipping. Variable includes shipping, dry cleaning, credit card processing, and packaging. So yeah, they're good.
The insurance was
Man,
only
that's crazy.
$4.
I was like, what did you say? You guys both talked at the same time.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what did you say, Patrick? Sorry.
No, what I was surprised over that the insurance was only $4 for a dress that costs a lot of money.
$4? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy that people would pay $50 for a dress for one night. But I guess it's just kind of like tuxes and stuff.
These are different from us men. We only use one tux, but women they like to use different dresses for every event they do. So
yeah, okay. So with the business model, so like the customer value proposition with this is obviously, well, or like she kind of like articulates that in it when she says that like it's the way that it makes people feel.
yeah,
like that's kind of the main value proposition is like, well, you can get a dress that you would be way too expensive for you to buy, but you can feel beautiful or whatever by renting this dress that night, you know, which yeah. And then I wonder about the go-to-market strategy.
So where are all those defined at?
I don't know. I know CVP.
I've
I
like
know
never heard of them. Is it more of like a marketing? Would you take that in a marketing class?
Well, yeah, customer value proposition, but GTM is kind of a entrepreneurship term, like go to market. It's like you create the market and then you try to figure out a way to like match it and like how are you going to get it into the market and how are you going to do that? It's like the go to market strategy.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like there's a textbook that I'm not seeing or something.
No, I just
okay. So, I guess my question is like last time we never went through these questions, and are we supposed to just kind of produce an Excel document together, talk about it, and figure out kind of what we think they should do?
Yeah.
Because like our hypothesis is either stick with their original plan and pursue operations improvements in 2010, or accelerate fundraising in order to expand inventory and product range. So it's like I don't see how these questions are helping us, to be totally honest.
No, I think they are. I mean, like, because like you look at the business model canvas here and you say like, okay, so like, are they validated? Like, have they validated their assumptions? Because like, if you're thinking about like dumping a whole bunch of more money into an unproven business model, like, does it make sense to, you know, to like just put grease on the fire or gas on the fire when you don't have any way to control it, you know?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I see what you mean.
And then, yeah, so it's like which elements are validated, which evidence do you have to support position, invite others to share their differing viewpoints. I mean, it's obviously they've validated that there is a demand for what they have to sell, you know. But I don't think they've proven all their channels and stuff.
Right. Well, but I think the thing is that's important. Like on page, where's the page numbers 9? It's like it says it's giving you all these numbers and percentages, and then it says RTO's dress inventory was out of rental 60% of the time, which is pretty significant. If you think back to like you took business like 226, the capstone, whatever, capsim, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing to do was to run out of inventory.
Yeah, because like it's infinitely harder to do like clothes business than it is to do like Netflix's model, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, I mean, even Netflix in the early days was just like sending DVDs like in the mail, and you can always get more DVDs, you know, but dresses are a lot more complex and diverse than.
Exactly. So like then my thought based off that is like, yeah, you should expand, and you should expand to like the accessories, because people are gonna either first of all rent an accessory and then be like, yeah, I really like the service, so I'm gonna rent a dress. So it's kind of like a step below. It's a low commitment, and then next time they rent a dress, and that's probably where more of the profit. Well, they said more of the profits is in accessories. If that makes sense. So like, here, what if we go like this?
Wait, so okay. So this is what it says. Like they received 2,000 orders and registered more than 150,000 members. 12% of customers had ordered more than once. On average, during the period, 60% of the dress inventory was out for rental. So that's like, it's not like they were stocking out. It was just like people were renting it. Like, so out of the 100% of dresses that they had, 60% of them were actually being used, you know?
Well, on average, period 6% of the dresses were out for rental. So that means they were out in the industry.
Yeah, like, so somebody had their dresses out. So let's see. It
Yeah.
seemed clear that the lack of inventory availability was holding down.
What Bruce is saying is not
okay.
that they're out of completely out of the inventory. They just have rented out 60% of their inventory.
No, it's 60% of the inventory is out. So 60%
Yeah.
of the time, their inventory was out of stock.
Because this is what it says. It's clear that the lack of inventory availability was holding down RTR's conversion rate, the rate at which new members became renting customers. In response, decided they need to boost the inventory to 5,000 by April. Okay, so because maybe having 60% of it out was a bad thing.
No, on average during the period, 6% of inventory was. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I was reading it wrong, but
it's not like the same thing as stocking out, I don't think, but it's just like, but yeah, like a certain percentage. So it's not like 60% of customer or like 60% of the customers tried and failed.
Yeah. So, and then the thing is they said they wanted to boost their
60% were frustrated that
they wanted to boost the dress inventory to 5,000, but the thing is I can't speak English. They send 2 dresses per time, so they only can really have 2,500 customers having a product. And whether they keep it for like 4 days, that's a lot. That's not enough product. Just 2,500 dresses, or 2,500 customers being satisfied. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. If you have, you have to look into the numbers of that are interest of renting per night. And then if they are short with the inventory, they need to buy more inventory to satisfy more customers.
Yeah, so that is a really interesting statistic that of the of the 150,000 members, there's only 2,000 orders.
Yeah.
Like that's a way interesting percentage.
Well, actually, no.
Fraction.
It's actually smaller than that because you think 5,000 divided by 2 is 250,000. Only 60% of that is being used up. So 1,200 maybe.
Of what?
Or 1,300. They're only having 1,300 of customers at every single moment on average. Do you see what I mean? Because if there's 250,000 packages they could send out, and only 60% of them are being used up, that means that there is only 1,300 packages out there in the market.
Yeah, but it also means like, oh, let's see. So 12% of the 2.5 thousand. Okay, so that's interesting.
I think,
but like in any scenario, it's a very small percentage of people that are ordering, so they have a big problem with that. I don't know what the other like 149,000 members are doing, but a very, very well, maybe that's just because of the first. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's what they're saying because they just have a really bad conversion rate. We were confident that we could get the conversion rate up.
Huh.
So it's interesting. It's like they couldn't even handle an increased conversion rate, but they already had a terrible one, and they're having issues with it.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. So they kind of talked about how Jenny, one of them was going to focus on one side of the business, like the people, and the other one was going to focus on the fashion. And I think whether that works or not, it depends, but still their model is just a little, they have a lot of money out there. What did they say? $1.5 million. and they already want to grow another 1.5 million.
Because maybe they should just figure out that conversion rate, like in the inventory issue. Like maybe they should figure out, instead of like getting into accessories and all that other jazz, like why not just make your core business model sustainable, you know?
Yeah.
Because like it just seems like they have a rough, like, I don't know, just like those stats are kind of sobering, you know? Just like 50,000 and 1% of that is ordering from you.
Well, and that's from the initial startup. Like people that are interested, only 1% actually placed an order, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of like agree with you. Like my hypothesis is, instead of expanding, stick with the initial plan. Don't get any more funding until 2010, and really work on keeping the customers you have, satisfying the customers, and just make a core foundation, because their foundation is just kind of, they're just trying to grab so much. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
And especially looking at these numbers, it takes them 4 times just to pay it off, and somebody can easily ruin a dress once. You know, you spill something on it, or
Yeah, that's why they have the insurance stuff or whatever. But
yeah, it's just.
So I think there's a good question in the discussion thing is, what does it mean to validate a business model, and how do you know if it's validated? Because like, have they validated their assumption? Like, I don't think they've secured like their, I don't know if that's a channel. I'm just trying to think of what part of the business model that is, like their method of delivering it to customers and the relationship. Yeah, I think like customer relationships and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like I think it's validated when you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. So like the way that they,
like a fact, but
yeah, the way that they ship things, the way that they communicate with their customers, the way that they advertise and sell the products, it just seems so much up in the air. And they've only been around for a year. It takes a lot of companies 1 or 2 years before they really start building a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they've destroyed, like if they go out there and they mess up, it's not like they are attracting so much to the market like Netflix. If Netflix messed up, it would ruin them. But this company is so small that they'll always find new customers at this rate.
Yeah.
So.
You have any thoughts on that, Patrick, on validating a business model? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should wait to start expanding and getting other things. They need to get everything situated with the model they have right now.
This is very true.
That is my feeling about looking at the numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So question number 5: how many times does it take a dress need to be rented in order to break even? We said 4 or something like that.
It's 3.8, but yeah.
3.8. So 4. How many times does an average dress have been rented in the first 2 months of operation? Did they say?
Yeah. Sorry. Good night.
Did they say how much an average dress was rented for in the beginning somewhere? Did you see that?
No, but I guess like 60, it would be rented 60% of the time. When in that, I guess it doesn't necessarily, on average, every dress would probably be rented 60% of the time.
Well, okay, so let's see. So if they start out, how much was their beginning inventory then of dresses?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say.
Was, oh man, yeah. Oh, this is interesting on page whatever.
Page whatever.
Page 9. In December, the waiting list reached 50,000, but by mid-January, as the dress grew inventory to 1,000 units and holiday demands subsided, the team reduced the list to 5,000 names in 1 week, and a 1 week wait. That's crazy.
So there's a waiting list.
of 50,000 people.
5,000. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went from 50,000 down to 5,000 holidays.
So it's like, yeah, the waiting list is high, but either if the waiting list is that high, you can bring your prices up to kind of bring the waiting list down, or, I mean, increasing your inventory or improving your business model. I just think there's so much error in their business model.
Yeah, you gotta fix that because, like, if December comes around, but maybe that's why they want more money is just to, because they're saying like the holidays are coming up again, you know, and I guess like not adding new accessory lines, but making sure your inventory is big enough.
Yeah, and hiring product managers and forecasters and people to figure out what they need and what, like, whatever, like when they get a dress and it's paid for and they've made money on it, if they should keep it to reduce inventory and increase cash, or if they should hold on to it and try to keep selling it. So
I wonder what its useful life is. Did anybody see anything about that? Like the useful life of a dress? Because it just seems like those are hard to maintain. Maybe, I don't know, but I guess maybe a dress you wear many times or whatever.
well, and I think society makes like tons of girls just buy a dress, wear it once, and never wear it again.
Yeah,
That's not the quality.
But see, remember, they don't just wash them in a regular washing machine. They're also going to very expensive, exclusive dry cleaner that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So which make it they last longer. And it seems like they don't have too much problem with stains and stuff like that. But accidents happen, and you will have some loss of it, dress and stuff.
So I mean, they have per unit issues as well, then, or like every rental does cost them something. If you've got to go clean
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and they included that in the variable cost.
Okay.
So yeah, it said in the variable cost that includes dry cleaning.
Yeah.
Where's the variable cost at?
Exhibit 4. Or in the Excel document, it says variable cost per rental, $31.
Oh, okay. So they're really only coming away with. Oh, so that said $90 minus 31 gives them
A profit margin.
dress. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
2226 divided by 59.
Yeah.
And that's your 3.8. Okay.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, if a dress only goes out 2 weeks out of the month, they can pay for it in 2 months.
Yeah.
So it only has to go out. Yeah. So like I'm kind of torn. I don't know what the best thing for them to do is. If they're going to get funding, they need to focus on like not R&D, but like product management and inventory forecasting instead of spending all the money on new inventory. I think they can utilize. I guess that'd be kind of an interesting number to see what their utilization is.
Yeah, because that's a key metric, really, if you think about it. Like, because it like what Patrick's saying about the seasonality of clothes and like them coming in and out of style. If you can't get 3.8, well, really, if you can't get like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 uses, it's a sunk cause, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to make money if you can do it 4 times, right? But your profit margin is what? 0.2% of, it's 2% of, or 20% of, so it's $5 per dress. So if you only can make $5 per dress, then yeah, seriously, you're paying for your expenses and you're paying your salary, but you're not a growing business. You're kind of very stagnant.
But I'm thinking of one thing though. You have to come to a point where you decided to sell the item, because you cannot. I don't think you can rent it out forever, because it's going to be wear and tear. If you rent it out 10 times or so, it's going to be useless. So in some point, you maybe are renting out, say, 6 times, and then you decide to sell it, and you still make a profit out of it, because you have now rented it out, and now you can sell it for maybe say $30 instead of the $60. It's just
Yeah.
my thought.
Well, and even if you could sell it, like, so, on the sixth time, the person gets an email like saying, "Yo, your product, we don't want it back. It's the six. It's been rented enough. You can keep it." And then they just get $60 for it, and then their variable cost. Well, they actually get $90 for it, but their variable cost is cut in half because now they're not dry cleaning it when it gets back. They're only shipping it one time. So that is kind of a true point, and it'd be kind of interesting. When they sell out, they can easily, or even if they do sell out only for $30.
Because you have to remember, it's fashionable clothes. This year the fashion is going to be one way. Next year the fashion is going to be different. So you need to make a decision. I would say if I were running that kind of business, you have to make a decision at one point that you're either selling it or saying you can keep it.
Well, and that's where proper like, not managers, but like people who track the website, they can see how many times people have clicked on a link, and once that interest has fallen, they have to decide a point like, hey, this thing's only getting looked at twice a day. It's not going to last long. We need to just sell it to the next person that wants it.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm thinking about rental cars. A rental car company don't rent or keep a car forever. They keep it a certain amount of year or mileage or whatever and then they sell it. So
Yeah,
you gotta toss it at some point. So
yeah. So maybe you get 6 rentals out of it, which means like you break even after 3.8 or 4. So
you make $300 per dress. In the long run, you make all your money back. I mean, you make your money back, and then you get another $300 profit, and then you turn around, sell it for $30 or whatever. So you get $350.
That's 1.5. Like with 5,000 dresses, that's 1.5 million a year.
Yeah.
In profit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if those variable expenses obviously aren't taking in salaries and whatever else.
Those would be the fixed costs, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, it's not. I mean, like, that's not pure net profit. It's just.
Oh, so those variable expenses
it's operating profit.
Right. So those variable expenses aren't even including the fixed expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
it's 1.5 million in revenue. Well, I guess it'd be more in revenue, but it's 1.5 million in operating profit is what I'm saying, I guess.
So on that thing, I took so if they bought 5,000 dresses, it would cost them $1.6 million. So if they want to increase their inventory by 5,000, they need $1.6 million, and then they can put that.
1.6 million in dresses.
Yeah. So, and the thing is if they can get that out, if they can increase their market, if they can actually if they're making $1.5 million now, and then they can make $1.6 million later, $1.5 million now, and then if they can add another 5,000 dresses, then they should be able to increase their profit margin up to $3 million, and then they can probably add accessories. But
so let's see. Okay, so retail cost of dresses. Profit margin is $59. It's just interesting because their profit margin isn't $59 on the first time they sell it.
No, it is. Well, their profit margin is
not really though, because you have the cost of the dress.
No, I know. So the profit margin on the profit margin each sell is $59, but it takes. Then you have to subtract. That's just the money that's going to be used to pay off the $226.
Isn't it? Well, wouldn't it be zero though? It'd be negative.
Well, no, it's not negative. Every single time they rent a dress out, they make $59, but then they have to pay for the expense of the dress. So after 4 times, the expense breaks even.
Okay.
I see what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But this is
operating a loss until the 4th time. than
Yeah,
when
if
you're
you could write it out where you do a schedule where you have every year, and then it would be 0, 0, 0, 0, and then the fourth year it'd be $59. But
well, for rental. Yeah, because like you're really making. Let's see.
it would equal here. I got it here. So it's 0. It equals this minus $59 the first time. Why is it giving me a reference error? I guess you can make that negative. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can see this Excel sheet too, right, Patrick?
Huh?
You can see it.
Yeah, I can see it now.
So on the fourth time they're making $10 profit, but the fifth time they're making $59, which is the same thing as what I said. It's just how you're wording it.
Yeah, I guess this is taking a cumulative profit. So yeah, this shows like the cumulative profit of the dress over time by uses.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So if they can get 8 uses out of it, you're really making $246 off of every dress.
Yeah, and whatever the salvage value is.
Yeah, and so let's say you can sell it for what?
I mean, even if you sell it for 10% or 90% off, and you're selling it for 200 or you're selling it for $30.
Up here, like
Right, salvage value, and then just be like $30.
we could just do it as a percent.
Yeah,
Like
salvage value. Just do 10% of 226.
Wouldn't it be 10% of the initial? Because like you'd take it off the retail price, though, really.
Yeah, that is true. So it's more like $75 because there's a ton of people that would buy a fashionable dress that's been worn a couple times. That's still 90% off.
Yeah.
And that could be like a whole different business adventure, is just getting rid of their product.
Yeah, so this is some. Yeah, this isn't exactly right. Shouldn't really go from 246 to this, but so total value. Like that's their total value of each dress that they sell is $321, assuming that they can get it to be rented out 8 times and then sold at 10% of its cost or 10%
Right.
of value. Make these smaller.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to be able to like just write my proof of action and alternatives just off this.
Mhm.
I just got to get going.
Okay, well let's summarize it right here. So then,
Yeah.
because that's what we're supposed to do at the end of every video. But
Yeah. So we can get a timestamp.
do you know what time we're at in this?
No, I can't look until later.
Okay. But yeah, so like I guess this sixth one. So should they scale now, or should they address the operational efficiencies for those who favor scaling quickly? Persuade your group that's the right course of action for those that improve operational efficiency. Make a strong case. I don't know. Yeah, where are you guys on this? I'm saying improve the operational efficiency, spend the money in building inventory.
Okay.
Scale the business that way. But
And take the investment or not? Because that's what it's asking. Is like, do we take 2010 investments and use all the money up and then try to go get more funding, or do we just keep on the path we're on?
I'd say just because like if you bring on new like venture capitalists, you also bring on like greater expectations for what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So they're going to want you to scale quickly.
Yeah.
But it's like, why not just make it profitable and give yourself the incentive to be profitable? Because like all all the investment money does at some point is just like isolates you from like the reality that you have to bridge that gap and get customers like
Yeah,
flowing through. So
definitely. Perfect. All right,
Cool.
guys.
yeah.
I'm gonna turn this thing off. Stop.
Awesome. So